Okay, the little bar is loading up. Hold on, y'all.
All right. All right.
Okay. Okay, are we ready? Are we live?
We are live.
I think we are live. Hello, Facebook land. Hello, family and friends. This is Keishama Johnson. This is Sip and See, episode 2, the why and the how.
Sounds like a good one.
Back again. So I wanted to introduce, I have 2 special guests today. I have Marvin D. Cloud, which is my book producer and editor, and also my sister and cousin, Latrice Bryant-Holloman, who is joining us today. Can y'all say hello?
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
I wanted to, one of the reasons that I wanted to do the Sip and See about the why and the how is because I've had a lot of people ask me, number one, why did I write the book? And then how did I write the book? So I wanted to bring these 2 people on and let them kind of help me talk about that.
Sounds good.
I'm getting feedback, so I'm just waiting for it to go, and then I'll go on. I don't know if y'all hear it or not, but
No.
here we go.
I don't hear anything.
Okay, so it's
up to you.
coming back to me, but that's okay. We'll move on. So Marvin, let's talk about the process. Well, no, let's start with Treese, because she was first.
Okay.
So Treese, what when I first came to you, I guess, to talk about, or you mentioned it to me about writing a book about our story. You want to share that?
Yes, I felt like through all the years, ups and downs, through him being sick, you were always there. And it's a story to be shared about how love can conquer all if you just believe and if you follow God, trust in your heart with what he's given you. I felt like it should be shared with everybody because on the outside looking in, people don't know what all happened. And sometimes they don't deserve to know. But at this point, this was a beautiful love story. It has its trials and tribulations.
Right. And he was the part of the title of he was her first love and she was his last. I think I said that to you and you were like, I like that.
That hit the hammer on the head. You nailed it.
Yes, it did. And so, yeah. And so it just, going from, I went from, trying to I had all these pieces with all of these emotions and feelings, and I was trying to find where they fit in my puzzle, in during the process. So, the very first part of the book I wrote was the hospital, when I went to see him at the hospital, and just writing how I felt and what I saw. I and really at that time really didn't know if it was going to be a book. I was really just processing my feelings at the time. And I've had several people ask me about writing a book. I just wrote, honestly. I type faster than I write. And so I just wrote. And when the ideas or the memories would come, I would just write them down. And so, you know, people keep at, you know, there's this amazement, and I'm like, honey, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, it's just a part of getting your story out there. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Marvin, because you and I met because of a cousin of mine who is an author, Courtney Hill Washington.
Yeah, Courtney was one of my clients. Did a book a couple of years ago. My understanding, she's done very well. And so you called me. Well, I think she called me first to tell me that you would contact me, and it seemed like it was forever when you finally called. But we talked. We hit it off really good. The hard work, as I call it, was already done because you had the story written down, and we just had to kind of, you know, clean it up a little bit, ask you a few questions. Maybe there were some places where you had to go a little bit deeper.
Right.
But the book itself was very, very well written, written differently because it's kind of like prose. It's not like, you know, just a story, but it has its moments, you know, where you can feel what you're really telling, really talking about the deepness of the relationship through the trials and tribulations. And then as you're building something, all of a sudden he gets sick, you know, and and then within look like a matter of a short while, you know, he's gone. But there's a lot of lessons to be learned from this story. And so I was glad to be a part of it, to take it through the process, to get it out so that we can then share it with the world.
Yeah. And I really appreciated the encouragement, you know, as a first-time author, never even thought about me writing a book. You know, so I appreciated the encouragement and just the, you know, from the very beginning, you know, just saying that, you know, it really is, you really have something here. And that was, you know, inspiring to me. Maurice, I think I shared before how we had a conversation before he passed, and he told me, you know, he thought I should write a book. And I was like, no. But and then to write a book about us, I was like, oh Lord, no. But I just see just how pertinent it was to do it. Just how pertinent it was to do it.
Well, although you two are the central characters in the book, it could have been almost anyone.
Right.
The way you're telling the story. And truthfully, there are couples all over the world who deal with certain things.
Right.
And they feel like they're the only ones going through. You were willing to be transparent. Which, like I tell my authors, which most of them are first-time authors, unless they're coming back to me to do a second or third book. But I work with a lot of first-time authors, and the goal is to get them to be as transparent as they can be, so that they can provide help and encouragement, mostly to let somebody know that you're not alone.
Right.
You know, you're not by yourself in this. And it's always good to have people surrounding you who are encouraging you in whatever it is that you're going through. And it seems like you had a pretty good base around you. You know, I remember you talking about your pastor and other people who just kept encouraging you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this, of course, was, after your husband died.
Right.
And sometimes when things like that happen, people just walk away.
Right.
They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say.
Right.
But you're still left there with your feelings,
Right.
And so your book is actually a ministry, and that you are able to take your experience and share it with someone else and could help them in that moment of need.
Yeah. I yeah. Treese, I'm gonna ask you because you are close to Maurice, and how did it feel for you? Because I was very, to make sure to honor him with the book.
To me, it was like a blessing. Although I was there, I didn't know all the intimate details because, I still had to work and I could only be there so often with you all. So it filled in the pieces to the puzzles of, okay, this is what happened while I was at work today. Okay, this is what happened while I was at work last week. So it filled it in. So, those days where I'd be at work worrying about, okay, what's going on now, what's happening with him. It filled it in. It let me know that, he was able to die in peace and not suffer. He had
Right.
somebody there who had his back unconditionally and loved him. It made it a little bit easier for me. Oh, here's my grandson.
Jordan want to say something. I've gotten feedback about hey Jay. I've gotten feedback from a few people, who have read the book. And one of the most the thing I keep hearing is that, I'm so glad, how happy they are that I opened myself up. And that's really what it was. I had to open myself up and allow people to see, me go through this process. When I was so big on images, and how it looked, but I had to just kind of lay it out there. And, the image, who cares? This was my process. This was me.
Well, again, I think the story speaks for itself. If someone is looking for a big, deep read, this isn't it. You wrote your story in simple language that the ordinary person could relate to and understand.
Right.
It's not a very big book.
Right.
But it tells the story. It lays it out from when you all met, lost touch, met again, got married, had children, just everything that that you put together. I said had children, but you had children already. But
right.
You again, it was just your willingness to share. Now we all know that you didn't share everything, so that's going to be in your next book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? Someone already asked me about. Okay, so when number 2 coming out?
Yeah. But this one, for what you were trying to accomplish, I think you did it extremely well. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Latrice has on a T-shirt with your book on it. Now, did I know we had T-shirts?
No, I did. Oh, my bad, brother. My bad. I got you.
Okay, I'm just curious. I was like, wait a minute, she's wearing a T-shirt with the book on it.
Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
It's on the way. It's on the way.
Okay.
It's on the way.
but yeah, everybody has a story.
Right.
You know, everybody has a book inside of them. I've been in publishing all of my life, but publishing books for 16 years.
Mhm.
Everybody has a story. And it's not a difficult process to get it out, but you have to write it. You have to be willing to write it. You have to be willing to tell. And there's a lot of strategies that you can do to write the story if you find yourself bogged down, or as they say, writer's block or whatever.
Mhm.
But I think everybody in the world owes it to their legacy to leave a written testament
Mhm.
of what their life was about.
Right.
Because
Right.
number one, no one tell your story the way you can tell it.
Right.
You
Right.
know, other people wanting to tell your story on the outside looking in, or they may know bits and pieces of it, but you know what really transpired, you know, and things like that. So I encourage everybody to write a book. And also, because writing is also therapeutic,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you can write a book and never publish it, but it would be so helpful to you as an individual to
Right.
get all of your feelings and emotions
Right.
out. That
Right.
sometimes I do books, people get everything out. It may be 200 and something pages, and then they decide 50 pages, we don't want anybody to know, you
Mhm.
know, so we take it out. But those 50 pages were important to the author
Right.
in their healing process.
Right.
And although I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist or anything, I do know writing your story is very therapeutic. And I tell anybody, shoot, I got my own book that I'm writing that I would never publish. You know, then I have another one about me that I will publish, but there's one that I'll never publish. But it helps me, you know, and that's what I try to get people to that point. Yeah, and now with the technology today, it's very easy to do. Latrice, I see you nodding, so I know that means you got a book too.
Yeah,
I have a story to tell.
yes, she does. She does have a story to tell, and she said,
Yeah.
Yep, she does.
Well, I'm calling you out. That's you know, I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions, but I do believe in goals. And I think 2022 would be a good time for you to get your story told.
Right. Right.
See, and even your
Also
grandson agrees.
Yeah.
that it also is not as expensive as I look at it as an investment, because of course we self-publish. But it's an investment that you can't put a price tag on, I believe. What do you say about that, Marvin?
Well, you know, yes, self-publishing is the term that they use. I particularly don't use that term, but I rather use independent publishing, and there's it's too long to explain why I don't like it. But yes, it's an investment. You are writing a book and publishing a book. However, you're also building an asset.
Right.
You know, something that you can pass down to your children or whomever you desire. It's an asset that can make, you know, you income.
All
You know,
right.
we're always talking about, you know, having multiple streams of income where you can do your book, printed book, you can do an ebook, you can do an audio book. All three of those things are selling a lot. these days. You know,
Mhm.
many people now, about 30% of the authors are now choosing to do audiobooks because
Right.
a lot of people they want to listen. You know,
Right.
so you have all of those assets that you are investing in yourself,
Right.
but as an independent publisher, you own 100%
Right.
of the
Right.
rights to do with it however you want. Your only other expenses after printing and things like that um, is if you have a
Right.
retail obligation
Right.
like to Amazon or to any other store, because you have to remember, just like if you go into your local bookstore, they're going to want 35 to 40% of
Right.
the selling price. Well, it's the same thing if you're
Mhm.
on Amazon or you're on any other uh, e-tailer.
Right.
They want a percentage,
Right.
but you do not have to share that with a publisher because you are the publisher. And what people do, because a lot of time when you use the term self-publishing, people think that they have to do everything.
Right.
The
Right.
only thing that really means is that
Right.
you are over everything. But people hire someone like me to pull it all together. In your case, we use, if I'm not mistaken, it was your nephew
Uh-huh.
to design the cover. I
Right.
did,
Right.
I did the editing, I did the layout, I did the printing.
Right.
So, but you're in control of
Right.
everything when you are an independent publisher. But again, it's all about building assets. And that's one thing that you're doing, starting with this one
Right.
title. And I'm pretty sure over the next few years, you'll probably have 3 or 4 books.
Oh my goodness. Well, I surely receive it. But
Yeah.
I also real quick just kind of want to talk about the conversation that we would have, through your questions and through us talking about different things and, and how to fill in the gap and how
Okay.
you didn't take my voice away.
No, that's important to me with everybody that I work with. I do not change their voice,
Mhm.
because the last thing I want is for one of your friends, let's just say Latrice, for an example, to
Uh-huh.
read the book and say, this doesn't sound like Kashima, So we don't do that. Even when I ghostwrite for people, which I'm ghostwriting a couple of books now, and
Uh-huh.
that simply means that people
Right.
tell me the story and I write it for them.
Right.
But I don't change their voice. It has to sound like them
Right.
so that they're proud of the final product
Right.
and they're happy with it. And it
Right.
sounds like them. If you're a doctor, I'm gonna make you sound like a doctor.
Right.
If you're a 8th grade dropout and you still want to retain that
Right.
voice, that's what your book would sound like.
Right.
I
Right.
can't make you sound like a doctor when you're not.
Right.
I
Right.
want it to be real.
Right.
The only thing that I know you and I have not talked about really is, the sickness that I've gone through
Right.
for the
Right.
last couple of years. And I had an experience that I would not wish on anyone,
Mm-hmm.
to where I was literally begging God,
Mm-hmm.
for another opportunity to take this gift that He gave me
Mm-hmm.
to the highest that I can do. And one of those things that I'm more select now
Uh-huh.
with the types of books
Mm-hmm.
that I do. And what I really want to focus on is just books that are adding to the atmosphere, like
Amen.
yours, for an example.
Amen.
I want to do more motivational books, more ministry books.
Mm-hmm.
I do about 100 titles a year right now, but I am getting away from the novels
Okay.
which I've done, a couple of them.
Mhm.
But in my negotiation with God, and I know a lot of y'all good folks are not going to like that, but, but in my negotiation with God, I told him that just certain books I'm not going to do anymore.
Good for you.
So I was already doing 99% of the books that I wanted to do, but now it's a 100%.
Good for you.
Ministry,
Good for you.
self-help, motivational books, children's book. I'm doing a ton of those right now. Just books that are positive, and encouraging,
Right.
and motivating.
Right.
So I just thought I'd let you know.
Well, no, I totally appreciate that. I'm glad that the Lord, gave y'all negotiation work to where you're still here on this side of glory. And thankful. I know that I prayed about who to even give this to. And I remember you telling me, don't worry. I know it's precious to you. I feel like you have handed me your baby, and I'm going to take good care of it. And you did just that. Yeah. So I thank the Lord. I'm grateful. I do want to give a shout out that you are Marvin D. Cloud at My Bestseller Publishing Book company. If you want to reach out to him on Facebook or message me and let me know, I can cross-reference you or what, if you want to see, if you want to do your story. That's the whole purpose for this live in these episodes, is to say, if I can do it, you can do it. God is no respecter of persons, and everybody has something that they can offer in the atmosphere, like Marvin said. I also wanted to say, if you haven't bought the book or you don't have a copy, please message me. The website is whenshebecamehis2021.com. Take Cash App, Zelle, or PayPal. Also, if you would like to maybe be a guest, you have the book and you've read it, you would like to be on the guest on the next episode, which will be in January 2022, let me know. Message me. I really thank the Lord. I thank the Lord for my life. I thank the Lord for his spirit. I thank the Lord for the joy that is deep down on the inside of my soul. And that joy was not easily gained. So I want y'all to know, Latrice, I love you. You are my sister, my ride or die. And I know all I got to do is pick up the phone and call you, and you on your way.
Absolutely.
Always. And Marvin, I really, really appreciate you. If someone reaches out to me, I'll definitely send them your way.
Sure, please do.
I will. I love you both.
Love you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
See you, Latrice.
See you later.
Right. Right, Marvin. Get her.
Yeah. We'll talk.
Bye.
Bye-bye.